Well, it's even worse than I thought. I got no light out here. It's part of the problem of living in the boonies. I don't even live in the boonies that much. I mean, yeah, it's an older neighborhood, but I'm still only about 30 miles from town. In Houston, that ain't nothing. So people ask me about 5th edition because a lot of people think I don't like it. Actually, I do like 5th edition. It's better than 4th edition, and it's a lot cleaner than 3rd edition. I mean, every edition has good points. I do have some issues with 5th edition, and there are issues that have continued over from previous editions. You know, the skill system. You know, there's no one skill system that the Rule Cyclopedia has. It's just the best skill system. 5th edition, once you get your skills set, that's it. That's all you ever get. It's really pretty hard to get new skills. You only have 18 to choose from. You get, somewhere between 2 and 8 at start. And unless you take the feat that gives you some more skills, you don't get any more. And there's a few classes that give you more skills. So you never really learn anything. I mean, it's not as bad as 3rd edition, where everything was, oh my God, the skill system for 3rd edition was just broken. And I mean that mechanically. It was boring too. You'd start off, you'd pick your skills at the at early on, and then every time you leveled up, you just put points in it. And even worse, in 3rd edition, if you picked a skill that the designers thought your class didn't need or didn't want, you got penalized for it. That's something I like about 5th edition, is it doesn't penalize you. If you want to be a charismatic fighter or an intimidating wizard, go for it. You don't take the cross-class skill problems. One thing I do think 5th edition has a problem with is there's too many classes. There's too many redundant classes. Sorcerer and wizard, there's not much mechanically different between them. One's learn new spells. The other one can just throw spells over and over again. But I mean, the only real difference between the sorcerer and the wizard is the wizard can change his spells every day. They could have easily made the sorcerer a sort of wizard subclass. So, and that's just a problem. Cleric and warlock, despite the different backgrounds mechanically, they're very similar. The warlock can't turn undead, and the cleric's not as offensive, but they could have easily made them into a different. They could have easily made them variants of each other, or variants of an overall class, where you're getting your powers from another. You get your power from another. An entity. And I've long made my displeasure about the barbarian class, but then again, I've never liked the barbarian class. That's going back to Unearthed Arcana 1st edition. Didn't really, and I got a lot of problems with the barbarian class. First off, they've got this obsession with all barbarians have to be running around two-handed weapons. Well, I grew up on Fritz Lieber. Fafford. He's running around with a sword, with a long sword and a hand axe, and you don't see that with barbarians because they're expected to be running around with great swords and great axes. Give us some variety. Give us the bare bones. We'll fill in all the details. They really need to do something with the ranger. The ranger is a skill monkey. It's what he's supposed to be. The problem is we've got a weak skill system. I'd say that, but then you've got the other problem being that when the Rangers are good at something, they're too good. The biggest complaint about the Apocalypse module is that if you've got a Ranger in the party that's got Underdark, you eliminate half of the problems right there, because all of the survival skills to a Ranger comes automatic. There's no rolls. And that's a real problem. So, the Rangers are kind of weak in combat. When it comes to survival, it's automatic. There's no rolls. That kind of takes away the tension. You know, the problem with a lot of the Mary Sue, I'm not saying it's a Mary Sue, I'm just using the term, is that if there's no tension, there's no drama. And Rangers, when you're trying to survive out in the wilderness and there's no role, you know, where's the drama? So Rangers need a little tweaking. They need a lot of tweaking, actually, and get them away from the Aragorn obsession, where it's like, okay, it's 2 weapons or bow and arrow. Okay, give them other options. You know, we don't all have to be playing Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. So let me see. You've got fighter, rogue. Bard will always be bard. I mean, bards. They fixed bards in 2nd edition, and they've just been the same thing ever since. You know, there's stuff from every edition that I like. Yes, even 4th. I know I rag on 4th. It's a punchline, but their minion system was the best. Yeah, throw 1 hit point mooks at people. They love it. If you give players a sense of empowerment, letting them cleave through the underlings, that's great. That was the best part about 4th edition. The rest of it would rather not talk about. 2nd edition. My favorite edition of D&D is still 2.5, back when you had the skills and powers. Combat and options probably needed another few months of playtest, because there was some broken stuff in that one. And yeah, you know, I loved the ability to tweak your character. That's what I wish 5th edition would have. You know, take a little bit of here, a little bit there. You know, you give me the basic framework. Fighters fight, rogues are skill monkeys, wizards cast spells, clerics got their their powers from their gods, their immortals, or their patrons, or whatever, and then you can tweak the rest. And that would make 5th edition probably the best. You know, 5th edition has, you know, it's Deathlight. That's something that they could be tweaking. One of the best house rules I've heard that I've always used is if somebody goes down to levels or 0 hit points, give them a level of exhaustion. Otherwise, they're just going to stand right back up in the middle of the fight. Healing ain't nothing in 5th edition. Stabilizing ain't nothing in 5th edition. And I really wish they would come out with some of the higher levels or some more adventures. Not talking about the settings, but my God, the adventures in 5th edition, they're all either recycled or they're just bad. Go Salt Marsh. I mean, I like me some Greyhawks, not my favorite setting, obviously. But Greyhawk, the Ghost of Salt Marsh, was just rehashed, the Salt Marsh series with some dungeon adventures thrown in. Curse of Strahd was Ravenloft, pretty much word for word with extra stuff thrown in. Granted, Curse of Strahd was decent, but it was still Ravenloft. They didn't even try to disguise it. Tomb of Annihilation, they tried to capture Tomb of Horrors. They didn't do it. That's actually a plus in my book. I never liked Tomb of Horrors. I can beat it in 10 minutes from memory. Oh my God. Somebody pointed out to me that the Tiamat 2 modules was a rehash of a Dragonlance module from the DL series. I know they have a limited. They only want to do 2 books a year in 5th edition. Okay. The only problem is they got to be good books. 1 adventure and 1 source book. That's just eking it out. They flooded the market with 3rd and 4th. Yes, that is true. They can't deny that. But they can probably be making more money by making just a few more books. Seriously? I heard Avernus blows up the Forgotten Realms again. Somebody told me that this morning. I actually wrote a comedy piece about the immigration officer over in Barovia getting swamped with all these immigration requests from the Forgotten Realms because they were tired of every year somebody trying to blow up the world. Started off with dragons, You had giants and demons and the elemental evils. Every year somebody tries to blow up the Forgotten Realms. Eventually people are just going to want to leave. When your option is, okay, we'll go live with Strahd and occasionally he'll eat one of us, or we can go live in the realms and hope somebody doesn't blow it up this year. People are going to go over to Strahd. Hey, maybe it's good for him. Maybe he just needs to be around more people. You got Goodman Games. They're putting out some good stuff. And I think was it in November they come out with Expedition to Barrier Peaks. And I know people love Expedition to Barrier Peaks. It's the same as in the same category as Night of the Comet and the Blackmore series. But DM's got to remember pains, because you put a lot of that super high tech stuff in there, and characters become too powerful. You got to take it away from them somehow. And Goodman puts out, they're recycled again. Everybody's recycling stuff. The issue I have, and this is not just D&D, it's Star Wars and it's all the other ones that they're trying to do nostalgia on. When it comes to nostalgia, we don't want to just look at old stuff. We want new stories in old settings. That's why Rogue One is considered so much better than the sequel trilogy. Hell, I even like Solo. Granted, I didn't pay full price, but it wasn't bad. A little goofy. Give me new stories in Greyhawk. What's the Lady of Pain been doing over in Sigil? Is there any other new adventures to be had in Dragonlance or Birthright? Give me new adventures. Look at the stuff that they didn't talk about in the old days and put that stuff out there. Because you've got all these new players, but they don't know. They couldn't tell you the difference between Dark Sun and Ravenloft and Greyhawk and Birthright and all the rest. Well, you can introduce it to them, because for them it's brand new. Okay? The older players are going to like, wow, you remembered us. And the new players are like, wow, this is awesome. I never heard about this. It was like when I was running my game store and I'd put on all these classic movies. And, I've seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly 100 times. But this new kid walking in, he'd never seen it. And he'd complain about the entire movie, about, he didn't like Westerns until the end. And then he sat there enraptured as Tuco and Blondie and Angel Eyes are, throwing eyeballs at each other. And the grand shootout comes out, and this kid is flabbergasted that Tuco's gun wasn't loaded. All right? For me, it's a really good movie. I've seen it. I know how it ends. I know all the ins and outs of the movie. For him, and he's getting the joy of experiences in these sets already laid for them. You don't have to. A car coming. This car coming kind of fast. I'll just skip over off for a few minutes. Hey, speed limit's 30, guys. Yeah, don't think they heard me. So, for the older settings, give us new adventures. What's everybody been up to? Kevin Baker, I think that was his name, the guy that wrote Eberron. He pretty much wrote his own version of Eberron. That's what we got. Wizards realized that he was going to do it no matter what, so they were just going to jump on it, and they took his lead. That's very promising. Now, if they do me and the Greyhawk Grognard, that'd be awesome too. But like I said, my book's not going to be actually ready. At least I don't think it will be ready for what I want to release until I get the last bits of art from Rubus, because it looks better if you have the same artist, at least doing most of the art, and you gotta look professional. This is my first big game that I'm doing by myself. That's not a card game. So, but back to 5th edition. So, you've got to get. I mentioned this a lot earlier on another one. Give me a few classes. Merge the classes together. Give me a few of them, but let me expand what they can do. Give me a lot of options. Give me a few core choices, but then give me a lot of options in those core choices. That would be how I would do the next edition. You've got the cleric, the guy that's getting his powers from somebody else. Are you a warlock or are you a cleric? Okay, both of them have similar, the basic startups. And for God's sake, somebody come up with a solution of what they're going to do with charisma, because right now it's got so much overlap with wisdom, it's not funny. Wisdom is force of will, and charisma is force of personality. Okay? You want to define that a little better? Because force of personality is kind of the same thing in a lot of areas. You got to do something with the saving throws. That was the illusions. Illusions don't even give you a saving throw. There's like 10 intelligence saving throws in the entire game. They're probably going to get more if they ever come out with psionics, but right now, I think the second fewest number of saving throws is charisma, and it's in the 50s. So you've got between the fifth and the sixth last place saving throws, you've got one that's got 5 times the number of saving throws as the next. So intelligence saving throws is kind of wasted. And I don't know why you would think somebody would go through and say, hey, we've got a stat that nobody uses. And going back to the game design days, if you've got something that nobody uses, or you've got something that everybody uses, it tells you there's a balance issue. When you see an illusion, it's not an intelligence saving throw, it's an intelligence skill check. And that, you could have easily made that into a saving throw. I mean, right now, intelligence has no benefits other than for the wizards. You don't get any bonuses except for a few skills if you have a high intelligence. You don't get any bonus languages. You don't get any bonus tools. I wrote a long time ago, not that long, just a few years ago, about Gandalf being a high-level fighter with just a really high intelligence. So he was able to outsmart everyone. You don't see high intelligence anything in D&D unless it's a wizard, because that's the mechanical bonus. Send parts of let's say, initiative. Instead of being dexterity, give give it like the Sherlock Holmes thing, where he sees the fight. He knows how it's going to turn out because he's able to analyze it, so he's going to be able to react better. There's so much that's stacked on top of dexterity right now, it's not funny compared to strength or intelligence. You got one of the best saving throws. You add it to your range damage. You add it to your so saving throw, the good saving throws, range damage, initiative, armor class, a few others. Some of the best skills, strength. You get melee damage and how much you can carry. Intelligence, you get spells if you're one specific class. So intelligence needs to get severely amped up, and spread some love on dexterity. Give some of the dexterity stuff to other classes. Completely redo the skill system. I know they don't want to do a lot of number crunching, but sometimes you gotta. That was sometimes it's okay to have them do math, because right now there's almost no pluses and minuses. You either roll 2 dice and take the highest or the lowest, or you just take it. There's very few pluses or minuses, which that's one of the issues with the bounding accuracy, where you have only goes up so high or so low. But some of these classes, or some of the armor and stuff, you can get armor super high really fast. Especially if you've got a wizard that's got the min spell, and you take somebody down with some plate mail. Yeah, the DM can always say no. But if you're at first level or second level and you somehow get your hands on full plate and a shield, those monsters aren't going to hit you often because there's no way to increase the bonuses. So that's one problem. And I'm not a fan of bounded accuracy games. That was when we were playing the Privateer Press, the War Machine RPG. Iron Kingdoms, that was what it was. And they had severe problems with when armor, or in this case defense, outpaces the ability to hit you. Then you've kind of ruined for a lot of people because they're sitting around trying to roll a 17 or higher, trying to hurt one person. You know, there's ways around it. But if you don't have those options, or somebody doesn't take that right kind of character, you've got, there's your problem. So, and that's just things I've noticed when we're playing. You know, we're playing, some of the older revised modules. And yeah, you can find plate mail. Oh my God, if you're playing on the Borderlands, which is converted to 5th edition, and you go through the Hobgoblin base, yeah, there is a ton of armor and weapons the player shouldn't normally be able to afford, but there it is. And that was when we realized, when the cleric kitted up in plate and shield, and nobody could hurt her, because, I think she ended up being armor class 21. Not an overly powerful item in its own self, but people would be bouncing off of her. Her job was just to stand there and let everybody else do the damage for her. Yeah, that's that was an issue. Yeah, I mean, don't go back to days of 3rd edition, but try to find a healthy medium. Increase the numbers a bit. That was the problem with Iron Kingdoms, where the band was too narrow. You could probably increase the range on 5th edition a little bit and not have a problem with that. I do like what they did, turning the profession jobs into the toolkits, but then that also has the problem with everybody using downtime to learn thief tools, which actually was a thing, because then everybody gets to use the thief tools. Yeah, they're not as good as thieves, but that still means everybody gets a shot if somebody rolls low. And that was just kind of a weird thing to include all of that, to include all these toolkits, and have one really good toolkit that everybody's going to take anyways. And that's actually one thing that I did in my campaign to put more points into intelligence. All tools checked are done using intelligence. Yeah, you might have your lock picks, and you're all dexterous, but the good thief is the one that knows which lockpick to use in what situation. So then intelligence got another use, which brought up the number of uses for a non-wizard to 1. And that was that was a I was just trying to come up with new uses for intelligence. You can always do you get bonus starting languages for high intelligence. You can do bonus starting tools, but then again, everybody just picks thieves tools because it's one of the 3 that are actually mechanically useful in game. Poisoner kit, and I think herbalism kit was the other one. Whew. Yeah, I've got I'm still walking. I've got to, I was able to fit into the suit today, but I got to make sure I can still fit in that suit today because I've got a red carpet thing for my magazine where if anybody wants to show up, we're doing a fundraiser for increasing awareness of pigmentation disorders. So, gripping stuff. So, yeah, the next fast. So the next book I've got coming out is Avernus, and I think I'll get the collector's edition just to sell it later. I have no desire to play in the Forgotten Realms. The Forgotten Realms have just, they spread, you know, like a virus. I remember I had all these books in second edition when TSR was dying, and they were cranking out the schlock. Oh my God. Yeah, it wasn't just restricted to Forgotten Realms, granted. The Mystara books were notoriously bad. The Ravenloft books tended to fall heavily into the formula. You'd always have, in the Forgotten Realms at the end, it was one established character and some kid. Every single time. Elminster and a kid. Drizzt and a kid. I don't think it was Drizzt. I think Salvatore does have some control over him. But, you know, like Blackstaff and a kid. Alias and a kid. And then the halfway through the module or the novel, the adult would go away and give it up to the kid. And that was just terrible. But Forgotten Realms got so much. You know, familiarity breeds contempt. Plus, they keep blowing up the damn setting. I mean, come on, people. You know, you've had a spell plague. You've had the Time of Troubles. You brought back the Shade City. You got rid of the Shade City. What was it? I was reading off all the great cataclysms of all the different settings. And most of them had one or two. The Forgotten Realms had 12. And it gets formulaic. I keep using that word formulaic, but it becomes stale. To shake up the setting. I know. Let's nuke it. You know, Greyhawk had Greyhawk Wars. You know, their two big ones was the Reign of Colorless Fire, which was just an excuse from the Wayback Machine to get everybody moving around the globe. And then when the setting actually got stale, they decided to have a great war. And that was great, because then it wasn't stale anymore. Mystara had the Great Reign of Fire. You know, again, a reason to get everybody moving in the way back past. And but then they did the Wrath of the Immortals, which, whoa! Oh, there's one less cicada in the world. What was he doing in the freeway? Or in the middle of the road, rather. Yeah, so Birthright had theirs. Ravenloft had the Grand Conjunction, which never really understood the meaning of that one because it's the Bane of Dread. They can close off the borders. They can rearrange the borders. I know they were just going from one edition to the next. Almost all of the cataclysms were usually one edition to the next until they just started to keep adding more. You know, Kryn had the Great Cataclysm, and I read a bunch of those books and then I stopped reading, and apparently they got worse. But Forgotten Realms just keeps going back to the same storyline over and over again. World blows up. Something really bad happens. I mean, who's going to live there? What's going to happen to that setting? If every, so many years they bring in the demons, then they bring in the devils, then they bring in the dragons, then they bring in the giants, then they bring in, what's next? Undead? Well, they already did undead. That was the Tomb of Annihilation. Hey, I'm going to eat all your souls because I'm an undead monster. So I'm waiting for the kobolds to try to destroy the world there. I know I've rambled all over the place, but I'm trying to walk off just a few more pounds because the suit fits and I want to keep it fitting. And if it could fit just a little bit better, that'd be awesome. But yeah, 5th edition, not a bad set. Better than fourth, clean third. Needs a little bit better. It needs to be a little bit tighter and allow the players a little bit more, options or a little bit more flavor in creating their characters. Don't force the stereotypes on us, especially the old stale ones. If you want to be a ranger with a great sword, why not? That's just me. Also, it's okay to have a chick in a chainmail bikini, or with a midriff, or a guy just in a loincloth. I mean, the barbarian's basically walking around with plate mail skin anyways, so I don't see why everybody's upset about it. I'm home, I'm sweaty, and I'm tired. I will talk to you later. I turned the same thing off.